everyone, it's Nina. Today we're going to do a very relaxing yin class for the lower body, so the legs and the hips. And for class today, all you're going to need is one block and possibly a blanket or a towel to put under your knee if you have sensitive knees for one of the postures that we're going to do today. So this class can be done by anyone. It is for beginners to advanced yogis, so no need to worry about the difficulty of this class. I'll provide modifications for every single posture that we do today. So to get started, you're going to grab a block. And we're going to start off in a couple of forward folds. So with the block, you're just going to take your right heel and place on the edge of the block. So right on the edge. And all of these poses that we're going to do, they're going to last anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, just so that we can really get deep into the fascial layers to help release some of that stress and that tension that we have stored in our tissues and our muscles. So with this first posture, you're going to take your heel to the very edge of the first block. You're going to sit up as straight as you can, kind of move your sits bones apart, so kind of almost like you're spreading your butt cheeks apart a little bit. And this helps to create almost like this little arch in the lower back, and that helps to release the lower back so that we can go a little bit deeper into the hamstrings. So sit up as straight as you can, pull those sits bones apart, and then from here just begin to fold over that left leg. And we're going to be here just for a few minutes. So just get settled. There's no need to force this posture. You want to find that space between where you're relaxing but also feeling a gentle stretch. And over time, as you relax, your muscles will slowly begin to open up and you'll actually go deeper and deeper without trying to force yourself into the posture. Because what we end up doing is pushing ourselves in stretches, and then we end up stretching out our ligaments, and those cannot go back to its normal length, and then that creates instability in the joints. And so what we want to do is we find that stretch in the deep belly of the muscle. So the middle of the hamstrings here is where you want to feel that stretch. Slowly begin to make your way out. Maybe we'll wiggle the toes a little bit. Maybe your feet or your legs start to get a little tingly. And then just move over to the other side. placing that right heel on the very edge of that block, moving the sits bones apart, sitting up straight, and then folding over that right leg. We'll be here for 3 minutes on this side. So if your foot starts to fall asleep or it starts to get a little tingly, just try to relax. You'll be able to move that foot around just after 3 minutes. 3 minutes isn't too long of a time period for your foot to fall asleep. What we're doing is we're just going deeper into the tissues, into the muscles here, so it might feel a little bit weird. But you've got this. Just try to relax, turn the mind off, and just sink a little bit deeper into the body and find that relaxation. Slowly start to make your way up and out. Just setting that block to the side. You're going to bring your feet together and we're just going to go into a regular forward fold. So you should feel pretty loose in both of the hamstrings now. So again, same thing, take those sits bones apart, sit up as straight as you can. Just find that slight arch or that tilt of the pelvis forward. And then begin to fold forward. It's okay if you need to bend your knees here, you can do that as well. Or you can just straighten the legs and just allow the neck and the head to hang. We're going to be here for 2 minutes. Slowly start to make your way out. Shake your legs out a little bit here. And the next posture we're going to go to is lizard pose. So step your right foot forward and your left leg back. And untuck your toes. Maybe you put a blanket or a towel under your knee, or you can roll up your mat for some extra padding. And just walk the right foot out a little bit more. Bring the hands on the inside. So I'll give you a couple of options here. So you can hang out here if this is a deep enough stretch in this posture. You can also come up onto a block if you need a little bit extra. You can also come down to your forearms. If you want a little bit of a different stretch, instead of just keeping your knee straight up and down, you can roll into the outer edge of your right foot. So just a couple of options here to help to open up the hips. So we'll just be here for 2.5 minutes. And over time, as the body starts to open, the longer that we're in these postures, you can make adjustments, maybe go a little bit deeper. Slowly begin to make your way out, push yourself up, come into tabletop, and just kind of circle your right hip around in both directions a few times. And then step the left foot forward closer to the edge of your mat. Come into your low lunge on this side and find your variation. So whichever feels good for you. And we'll be here for 2.5 minutes. Again, just kind of going a little bit deeper if the body starts to soften and open up a little bit more for you. Slowly begin to push yourself back up. Come into your tabletop and just roll that left hip around, forward and back a few times. And we're going to come into a half hero's pose. So we'll start off by keeping the left knee bent and then bringing the right foot forward. So if this is too intense to be in this position, just take a block, place under your hips, keeping that left heel on the outside of your left hip. And this might be enough of an internal rotation and a stretch for your quad for you, so you can hang out here. Maybe you start to bring the hands back behind you and you start to feel that stretch in the quad or the hip flexor. If that doesn't do much for you, you can always come down onto your hips and again start to lean back. And then if you have a little bit more flexibility, you can lean all the way back. So find your position. We're going to be here for 3 minutes. So whether you're in a super deep posture or just in a modified on your elbows or on your hands, and this is enough, find that place that feels good. It's important to not push yourself in this position because you can really put a lot of pressure on the knees. So just be very gentle, back off, and then as you begin to relax and surrender in this pose, the longer that you're in it, maybe you can actually go a little bit deeper, maybe a minute or two in. And slowly start to come up out of this posture. We're just going to take that left leg out in front. Slowly, maybe it feels a little stiff from being in that posture, and then just switch sides. Bring that right leg around. Maybe you're sitting on a block, or maybe you remove the block because you're a little bit more open on this right side. Bend that left knee, and then take your variation for the next 3 minutes. Slowly begin to make your way up and out. All you're going to do is extend your legs out and lower all the way onto your backs. The next posture we're going to do is a reclined tree pose. So hug your left knee into your chest and then bring the bottom of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. So we're just allowing gravity to start to open up the hip. If you want something a little bit deeper, you can come into a reclined half lotus pose. So we'll be here for about 2 minutes. Slowly start to bring the left knee up and extend the left leg out, switching sides. Pull that right knee into your chest and take your variation of reclined tree or half lotus pose. You can place your hands on your belly, by your side, over your heads, just whatever feels good for you in this moment. Slowly start to come out. We're going to go into an inversion before we make our way into Savasana. It's a pretty easy inversion, so a couple of options here. You're just going to lay on the ground, lift your feet up. You can place a block under your hips just to elevate the hips above the heart. Or if you'd like to go against a wall and you need a little support with the legs, you can do that as well. So find your position. We're going to be here for about a minute or so just before we settle down into Savasana, placing your hands by your sides or anywhere that feels comfortable for you. Slowly begin to hug the knees into the chest. If you have a block underneath your hips, you can remove the block and make your way into Savasana. Take your feet about hip distance apart, your arms by your sides or maybe on your belly or over your head, coming into a star shape. If this bothers the lower back, you can always bend your knees and teepee them in together and just slightly tuck the tailbone under. So find your variation. We'll be here for about 2 minutes. And slowly begin to come back into your body. Moving your fingers and toes and ankles and wrists. Eventually making your way onto one side. Just curl up here. And gently push yourself all the way up to a seated position. Taking your hands to your knees and close your eyes. Empty out the belly. Take a big inhale in and exhale out. One more time, inhale in and exhale out. Take your hands to your heart center. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this lovely yin class for the lower legs and the hips. And I hope you feel a little bit more open, a little bit more relaxed. And thanks for joining me. I will see you on the mat next time. And don't forget to subscribe if you like this class. All right, bye guys. I said that backwards. I was supposed to say that before. Whatever.